A famous Silicon Valley CEO posted on LinkedIn last year, 40 million followers. He wrote, and I'm quoting exactly, "The best leaders know when to break before they lose control."
50,000 likes. 40 executives shared it. 3 companies reached out to offer him consulting contracts.
Here is what nobody told those executives. He meant break, not break. And those two words, separated by a single vowel, mean the exact opposite of each other.
One means you are wise enough to slow down before disaster. The other means you have already come apart.
Welcome to ChatterBox English Active Training. I'm Clara.
And I'm Leo. And today we are doing something we have never done before on this channel.
A full 20-minute deep dive masterclass. No shortcuts, no surface-level definitions. We are giving you etymology, grammar rules, idioms, a live quiz, and most importantly,
the single mental framework that makes it impossible to confuse these two words ever again. We are calling it the AE framework, and we are saving it for the end. Trust us, you want to hear it.
But before we get there, we need to tell you something that will change how you think about your English entirely.
In 1999, NASA spent 8 months preparing the Mars Climate Orbiter. $327 million. When it entered Mars orbit, it disintegrated. The cause? One engineering team used metric units. The other team used imperial units. They never agreed on the system.
One measurement difference. $327 million? Gone.
Now, imagine what one letter can do.
In English, there are pairs of words called homophones. They sound completely identical when spoken, but they are entirely different in spelling and in meaning. Break and break are possibly the most dangerous homophone pair in professional English today.
Because unlike most vocabulary mistakes, this one does not just sound wrong, it reads wrong. And in written communication, in emails, in reports, in contracts, in proposals, that is where careers are built.
Or broken. Let's start where every great understanding starts, at the root. Because if you understand where these words came from, you can never truly confuse them again. Leo, take us back.
Break. This word is ancient. Old English, breakin'. And before that, Proto-Indo-European root, breg. What did breg mean?
What did it mean?
To shatter, to crush, to fragment. This is a violent word at its very core. It implies the destruction of continuity. Something that was whole is no longer whole. The concept of break has always been about rupture, about something going from intact to not intact.
Now, break. This word is considerably younger. It came from the Dutch, breke, which was the name for a flax brake, a mechanical tool used to beat and crush the fibers of flax plants so they could be woven into linen.
It was the name of a device, a mechanism, a tool that applied controlled force to stop or separate something.
And then, as wheeled vehicles appeared, wagons, carriages, eventually automobiles, the word transferred directly to the mechanism that stopped them. The brake, because conceptually it performs the same function. It applies controlled force against a moving system.
So here is the fundamental ancestral difference. Break, ancient, violent, about rupture and discontinuity. Break, mechanical, controlled, about a mechanism of deliberate restraint.
One is what happens when control fails. The other is the tool of control itself.
Let that settle in, because everything else we teach you today builds on that single foundation. Now, let's get precise. Both words function as a noun and as a verb. Let's map it out completely. No gaps.
Brake as a noun. The brake is the physical mechanism that slows or stops a moving vehicle or machine.
Example sentence. The mechanic told her the rear brake was worn down and needed immediate replacement.
Example sentence. He adjusted the hydraulic brake carefully before the race began.
Brake as a verb. To brake means to apply that mechanism, to deliberately slow or stop something using a braking system.
Example sentence. She had to brake sharply when the child ran into the road.
Example sentence. The train began to brake steadily as it approached the platform.
Now, brake as a noun. A break is a pause in continuity, or the physical result of something fracturing.
Example sentence. After 4 hours of negotiation, both teams agreed to a 15-minute break.
There was a break in the signal, and the live transmission was lost.
Break as a verb. To break is to cause something to separate into pieces, or to interrupt or rupture a state of continuity.
Example sentence. He dropped the ceramic vase and watched it break across the kitchen floor.
Example sentence. They finally decided to break the silence after 3 days of tension.
Now, the irregular forms of break. This is where learners most often falter.
Present tense, break. Past simple, broke. Past participle, broken. She broke her arm in the fall. The agreement had been broken beyond repair.
Break, by contrast, is completely regular. Present, break. Past simple, braked. Past participle, braked. She braked hard and the car stopped in time. The vehicle had braked to a full stop before the junction.
This means if you ever see the word broke or broken in a sentence, it is always break, never break. Break has no irregular forms whatsoever.
That single rule alone eliminates half the confusion.
This is where fluency actually lives. Dictionaries give you definitions. Idioms give you the culture, the texture, and the nuance that separate functional English from native English. Both break and break have rich idiomatic lives. Let's go through them one by one.
Break idioms. Break the bank. To spend an enormous, often excessive, amount of money. Example. They didn't want to break the bank on the renovation, so they chose a modest contractor.
Breaking news. Information so significant that it interrupts, literally breaks, the regular flow of programming.
It ruptures the schedule. That is precisely why it is called breaking, not breaking. You are not slowing the news down. You are rupturing the broadcast.
Break a leg. This means good luck. Theater superstition is the origin, but the word choice is precise. It speaks to breaking outside your comfort zone, stepping beyond what is normal and safe.
Break the ice. To say or do something that relieves tension or awkwardness in a social situation. The continuity of discomfort is broken.
Daybreak. The moment at which the night's uninterrupted continuity is broken by the arrival of light. One of the most beautiful uses of the word in the language.
Now, break idioms. These are fewer in number, but they carry enormous weight in professional, formal, and business English. Master these, and your spoken English signals real sophistication.
Apply the brakes. To deliberately slow down a process, a project, or a decision. Example. The board decided to apply the brakes to the acquisition until the independent audit was fully complete.
Put the brakes on something.
Similar in meaning, to slow or halt something with deliberate intent. Example. Rising inflation forced the central bank to put the brakes on consumer lending.
Pump the brakes. This is the one you need to master. It means slow down, exercise caution. Do not rush ahead. Example. Before we commit to this partnership, I think we need to pump the brakes and review the full contract.
You will hear that phrase in boardrooms, in negotiations, in leadership conversations. Pump the brakes always carries the meaning of conscious, deliberate restraint. Anytime you hear it, that is your brake signal.
Quick pause. If this masterclass is already making things click for you, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell notification.
We release one deep dive masterclass every single week. If you have been looking for advanced English content that treats you like an intelligent adult, this is your channel. Now, Section 4. This is where the real traps are, the ones that even native speakers fall into.
Now we enter the territory where even educated native speakers hesitate.
The breaking point versus the breaking point.
These two phrases look nearly identical. They sound identical in fast speech, and they mean completely different things.
The breaking point. Example, the test driver calculated the exact braking point needed to stop the car before the corner at full speed. The breaking point is a precise physical location or moment at which braking must be applied. It is a controlled, calculated engineering concept. It belongs to the world of physics, motorsport, and logistics.
The breaking point. Example, after 3 years of overwork and broken promises, she had finally reached her breaking point. The breaking point is the threshold beyond which a system, a person, or a structure can no longer hold together. It is a rupture concept. It belongs to the world of psychology, relationships, and pressure.
Breaking point. Controlled, mathematical, deliberate. Breaking point. The edge of collapse. Emotional, structural. Those are not similar ideas. They are opposite ideas wearing similar clothes.
Here is another trap that appears in everyday writing. Take a break versus take a break. Only one of these is grammatically correct in common usage.
You take a break, a pause in activity. You do not take a break. Breaks are not taken, they are applied. The moment you see the phrase take a followed by a pause concept, the answer is always break.
And one final trap that professionals encounter in financial writing, you may occasionally see headlines worded as market breaking news, meaning news that is literally slowing the market down. As a deliberate, sophisticated editorial metaphor, this is technically defensible.
However, standard usage is always breaking news. Do not write breaking news in professional documents unless you are making a fully intentional stylistic choice and you are certain your reader will understand the distinction. In all standard contexts, news breaks. It does not break.
Enough teaching. Time to test. Leo is going to read 4 sentences. You, watching right now, have 5 seconds to choose the correct word before Leo reveals the answer. Pause the video if you want more time. Ready?
Let's go. Sentence 1.
The answer is break. The board voted to break all new hiring. They are applying controlled, deliberate restraint to a process. They are not rupturing the hiring process. They are consciously slowing it down. That is break territory.
If you answered break, consider this distinction carefully. You can break a habit. You can break a pattern. But you break a process when you are still in active control of it. That is the professional nuance. Okay. Sentence 2. Past tense. Broke. After the glass fell from the counter, it broke into 3 clean pieces. Physical fragmentation. Rupture. Shattering. Classic, unambiguous break territory. No ambiguity there.
Sentence 3, and this is the trap. The answer is break. She had to break for a moment at the intersection. She is operating the braking mechanism of her vehicle. The confusion here is predictable. For a moment sounds like a pause, which triggers the brake instinct. But the subject here is a driver controlling a vehicle. That is always brake.
And sentence 4, the hardest one. Break. Specifically, broken. The long, tense silence was finally broken when he laughed. The continuity of silence was ruptured, interrupted, escaped into noise. And notice, broken is the past participle of break. Break has no such irregular form. If you see broken, it is always break. Always.
If you got all 4 correct, you are ready for the framework that locks this in permanently.
And if you did not get all 4, that is precisely why we built the next section.
We promised you a mental framework at the beginning of this masterclass. Not a mnemonic, not a rhyme you'll forget in 2 days. A conceptual lock that operates at a deeper level than surface memory. Leo, reveal it.
Look at the 2 words side by side. B-R-A-K-E. B-R-E-A-K. The letter sequence that changes everything is the vowel order. In break, A comes before E. In break, E comes before A. The framework is this. A stands for apply. Every single use of break involves applying something. You apply the brakes. You apply restraint. You apply the mechanism. You apply controlled force against motion. You are always in active, conscious control. You are an agent. You are in charge. A, apply, break.
E stands for escape. Every single use of break involves something escaping its current state. Silence escapes into noise. A bone escapes its structural integrity. A relationship escapes its bond. A prisoner escapes confinement. A pattern escapes its routine. You take a break and you escape your work, temporarily. Something is always leaving its current state. E, escape, break.
A equals apply. You are applying control. B-R-A-K-E. E equals escape. Something is escaping its current state. B-R-E-A-K-E.
From this moment forward, when you sit down to write and you're not certain which word to use, ask yourself one question only. Is something being deliberately applied and controlled here? Or is something escaping, rupturing, or pausing?
Applied control. Break. Escape, rupture, pause. Break. That is the AE framework. It is yours now, permanently.
One final distinction, the most important in professional English. Breaking point versus breaking point. Breaking point, where controlled stopping must occur. Breaking point, where collapse occurs. These are not interchangeable, not even close.
And pump the brakes means slow down, be careful, exercise caution. It never means break a pattern. Never confuse those two again.
Subscribe. Here is the real reason why. This masterclass is one of over 40 we are building this year. Every word pair, every grammar trap, every pronunciation disaster. We are covering all of it at this level every single week. If you want English that sounds educated, precise, and native, you need to be in this community.
Comment below right now. Tell us, what is the most confusing word pair in English for you? We read every comment. The word pair that receives the most requests becomes our next masterclass. You have a direct vote in what we create.
Next week, we are going to tell you exactly what it is, exactly how you have been saying it, and exactly how it should actually sound.
If you are not subscribed, you will miss it, and you will keep mispronouncing it for the rest of your life. Hit it very hard. See you next week.